So our topic at hand today is OEM specific ADAS training. We are starting a new series for this year, so 2025. Every few weeks, we're going to have a new manufacturer here. So we did OEM specific training last year, just kind of as a overarching training on just a specific vehicle make every time. Now we are drilling down a little bit deeper, and we are getting into the ADAS systems for these manufacturers. And first up, we're just going to do it in the same order we did last year. So first up is going to be Ford. So Ford, much like pretty much any other manufacturer that's out there nowadays in the modern world, they are using multitude of components, and they are all fusing together, fusing their inputs. They call it sensor fusion, where they're able to use the multiple inputs and the multiple sensors in order to make vehicles safer going down the road, and even gives us a little bit of that self-driving that we're looking for as well. So things like radar. They use radar for adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, both the front and the rear of the vehicle, front and rear cross traffic alert. Also cameras. They have a multitude of cameras on the vehicles now. Front view, 360 view, trailer assist even on the pickup trucks. And they use ultrasonic sensors for park assist and also an advanced park assist that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Not a lot of oddball things, so to say. I mean, they're fairly straightforward in order to get most of these things calibrated, and actually not a ton needing targets or things of that nature. We are going to talk about a couple different instances, but a lot of these are dynamic recalibrations or just simply a reset on the piece itself in order to either just drive it down the road under set conditions, or it's like a reset relearn. They call it a PMI for some of these as well. Programmable module installation, where you're copying data out of the old unit and putting it into the new unit. So that's really what they use. One really, I just thought kind of a weird thing that they have is they build their blind spot monitor, the rear blind spot monitors on the pickup trucks anyways, into the taillights. So if I replace the taillight, if the taillight gets smashed, I might possibly need to replace a radar module as well, because it's part of the rear taillight assembly on those vehicles. If I were to buy a rear taillight assembly for some of these, like I was looking up one for the 2018 F-150, we're going to look here in a minute, and it's about $1,000. So not terribly cheap, and definitely don't want those breaking. And we might have to do some sort of an ADAS related function when it comes to those taillights, and that's pretty much 2015 and up on the pickup trucks. Also, 360 cameras on these. They have these massive mats that you need to use and roll out on the floor. It was just an example of one of our reps doing a calibration on a Ford pickup truck right there, and need these massive mats. So it needs to be able to see this pattern all around the vehicle to calibrate those 360 cameras. All right. So, like similar to last year, we're going to take our representative vehicles that we used for our just OEM specific training, and then we're going to specific to ADAS on these vehicles. So 2018 F-150. F-150, one of the top selling vehicles in North America for many, many years, and got some ADAS functions on there, in 2018 and 2015, even in newer. So 2018, this specific 2018 F-150 we're looking at today is going to have 3 radars on it. It's going to use it for adaptive cruise control, 1 for the front in adaptive cruise control, 2 in the rear for blind spot monitors, and also uses those 2 in the rear for rear cross traffic alert. There are 5 cameras on this vehicle, 1 for front view, and that would be up in the windshield, and then there's also a 360 view, so you got 4 around the outside as well for the 360 view, not just the camera up top. And trailer assist. So it has a trailer parking assist camera, like the rear backup camera can be used for trailer assist. Have you ever seen the commercial where they're backing up to get to the trailer ball and aim it at the hitch? That would be trailer assist. And also they have 6 ultrasonic sensors on the vehicle. So 4 in the rear, and then there's 1 on either side in the front, and that's if the vehicle is equipped with the advanced park assist, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. So for the 2018 F-150 cameras, so the front camera and the radar assembly. So the front camera, as we can see, is going to be up high mounted on the windshield, And then the radar is going to be in the bumper, kind of more on the driver's side of the vehicle there. In order to calibrate the front radar on this, it's going to ask you to use a combination square to make sure it is level on the front, and then make sure the pitch is correct until it is vertical and level. So you're going to use the screws to make it level. And then the horizontal is done by the module itself. So in the module, in order to do that radar, or to recalibrate that radar, it's in the cruise control module there. And then there's a cruise control radar alignment. There's also a programmable module installation if you do need to switch the module out. You can do a copy and paste, basically, off the old module into the new module. So cruise control radar alignment. It's going to put it in alignment. It's going to put it into a relearn mode. And it says the vehicle must now be driven on a public road to allow the calibration values to be learned. To complete this procedure, it will be necessary to perform a drive cycle at speeds up to 50 kilometers an hour for 15 minutes. Drive the vehicle until the procedure is complete. This will take, as it says, approximately 15 minutes. The test may be aborted at any time by pressing the cancel button or turning off the ignition. For vehicles fitted with the start-stop system, this feature must also be disabled during this procedure, so start the engine before proceeding. Warning, do not at any time during the drive cycle place the scan tool in the deployment path of any airbag. They're just coming right out and saying it, huh? Yeah, we definitely don't want to have the scan tool like sitting on the steering wheel and watching it. We want to have it in a safe area, not in front of our face where an airbag might deploy. For the front camera, there are two different image processing modules, and this is another thing that is kind of unique to Ford in this way. The image processing module A is almost exclusively used for lane assist, so the high mounted camera there. And then image processing module B would be for like your 360 camera. So we see we have image processing module A there. We'd go in there. It does offer a 360 view camera alignment, but it's not for that 360 system, so it's a little odd. Lane departure warning system camera alignment, but what we will be talking about, there's also pro trailer backup assist camera alignment. And lane departure warning system help. So under the help menu, it's going to tell us when we need to do this alignment. So carry out this procedure if any of the following service procedures have been performed. The rear view mirror has been removed or replaced. So that's, up in the top. It's going to be real close to the camera. Or the windshield has been removed and replaced. To complete the service function, please make sure the following conditions are met. Now, if you remember talking last week that we need to make sure all of the manufacturer's conditions are always met, including the battery voltage being between 12 and 15 volts. You want to use a battery maintainer as well if possible. An on-demand self-test is not executed during this procedure, so that'd be looking for codes. And programmable module installation was performed if image processing module A was replaced. So if you replace the camera, you need to do a PMI on that. So that means you need to make sure you take the information out of the camera before you put the new one in. The procedure will require the vehicle to be driven for approximately 10 minutes to align the camera. When the vehicle is in alignment mode, do not turn the ignition key in the off position. If the ignition key is switched to the off position prior to completing the drive cycle, please exit the menu and rerun the function. Drive the vehicle on a road with visible lane markers. Drive in a steady manner over 40 miles an hour, 64 kilometers per hour. Avoid lane crossing, excessive steering angle changes, or sudden changes in vehicle speed. So all of these parameters need to be met. To confirm the alignment completion on a previously aligned camera, turn on the lane departure warning switch and monitor lane lines displayed on the instrument cluster while driving. The lane lines displayed will change from gray to green when alignment is complete. If the lane lines display does not appear on the instrument cluster, use the confirmation method outlined in the next step for a new service part instead. To confirm alignment completion on a new service part camera, turn on lane departure warning switch approximately every 1 minute while driving. When the system turns on and the lane lines appear in the instrument cluster, the alignment is complete. So there might be something different that you might need to do. And then once you hit continue, it's going to say the procedure has started and the vehicle is in lane departure alignment mode. And it's just going to tell you the same thing we just saw on the previous screen there with how to drive it and confirm the alignment. Now, as far as the rear radar, remember how I said these are in the taillights on these. So we see that how they're kind of mounted there. There's our radar there. There's our radar there. Now the rear view mirrors come into play on this because of the warning that might come up. If there is a vehicle in your blind spot, you'll get the blind spot warning in the mirror. Then, of course, a couple different modules there. So it looks kind of like this, where it mounts into the rear of the taillight. Not really much going on when it comes to replacing them. It's not like you need a target or anything like that. Uh, I guess Ford is assuming that if the taillight's in correctly, then and that the module is mounted to the taillight properly, then you shouldn't need to calibrate it. It's really just a PMI. It even says so in the repair information. So to install the blind spot sensor to reverse the removal, all you're going to do is just bolt it in a bracket. And also, you don't have to do anything unless you're installing a new component. So if you're just swapping the taillight and you're taking that radar off and put it back on, it says you don't need to do anything. And then if I do put a new component in, a new radar unit, then using a diagnostic scan tool, complete the PMI process for the left or right following the on-screen instructions in the PMI process. All right, 2018 F-150 360 cameras. So we see we have a camera in each mirror, kind of at the base of the mirror, one in the front grill, I guess, area, like below the emblem, and then one in the rear tailgate. So in order to do that, that would be in image processing module B on this vehicle. And the procedures for calibrating the 360 view camera system with trailer mats. The vehicle will need to be driven for approximately 5 to 10 minutes or possibly longer depending on environmental conditions. If the module is replaced, perform a PMI. If the front of the rear camera is replaced, perform a LIN module at initialization and perform a self-test to adjust DTCs. The voltage must be between 11.8 and 15 volts. Position target mats to the according to the workshop manual, which we're going to see on the next screen. Lay out 2 target mats alongside the vehicle, oriented in the proper direction and parallel to the vehicle. Measure to the starting edge of the first white checker square between the mats. Set target distance between the mats, the correct target distance. F-Series standard duty. Long wheelbase, 2017 and later, and a couple other measurements. Right, we don't need to read through the whole thing. Verify the vehicle center between target mats by measuring the distance from the vehicle center axis to the edge of the white checkered square on each mat should equal half the set target distance. Align target mats at the center of the front wheels. Use the alignment markers on the mats. Verify the target mats are parallel to each other by measuring the distance between the mats at the front and rear must equal the set target distance plus or minus half an inch. And there's what the mats kind of look like in the repair information. And then if we were to look at our reps doing a calibration, we can see how they're kind of laid out. It's like a vinyl mat rolled up, and then you unroll it. With our TruePoint system, it actually has a little place so you can align them on the corners too, which is helpful. All right, as far as park assist, so on vehicles with just the plain old park assist, the base model park assist, it's going to have 4 ultrasonic sensors in the bumper. And then, of course, we'll have the sound will play through the speakers as it gets closer. On these, no calibration needed. You're just plug and play. And then as far as active park assist, we are going to see 2 additional sensors, which are going to be kind of in the bottom on the sides there. So in addition to having the ones in the rear, it has additional units on each corner, kind of like looks like below the wheel arch, I suppose, and there's going to have a button, of course, and a module for it, but it's going to work kind of like this. Now, I took these out of screenshots out of a video from Ford. So you're going to drive, you're going to turn on your turn signal, and that will have the vehicle indicate to the vehicle that you want to parallel park in this spot. So you will do that. And then once it has found an appropriate spot, it says spot found, drive forward. And then you'll follow the instructions and then release the steering wheel, shift into reverse. And then the vehicle will steer it for you. You operate the brake and the gas in that case. All right. There's, of course, way more steps involved to that, but you know, that's basically what it does is it parks the car for you with you operating the brake and the gas. All right, so that's the F-150. Let's talk about an Escape. On the Escape, this particular 2017 Escape anyways, it has 3 radars, 1 for adaptive cruise control, 2 for blind spot monitor and rear cross traffic alert. And then as far as cameras, it's going to have 5, once again, front view and 360 view. And then for the ultrasonic sensors, there's going to be 8 of them. So there's going to be 4 in the front and 4 in the rear, and it uses two of the ones in the front for the advanced park assist in this case. So for the front radar, once again, sitting in the middle, front of the bumper, underneath a little bit. And that is, once again, by itself under the cruise control module. There's not a separate radar module called out. Cruise control module calibration. It's going to be very much the same as the F-150. They use pretty much the same system across the board, at least in this era. Perform the service function when the automatic cruise control module has been replaced or service alignment procedure is required. Drive the vehicle on a straight road over 30 miles an hour, 50 kilometers per hour, until the instrument cluster's adaptive cruise control message is cleared. The calibration procedure will take 5 to 15 minutes typically. And basically, this is once again, put it in alert mode and drive it down the road. Drive the vehicle on a straight road over 30 miles an hour until the adaptive cruise control message on instrument cluster is cleared. Note, drive the vehicle until front sensor not aligned message is no longer present, then select continue. So you'd hit select continue and that would clear it. All right, 2017 Escape rear radar. It's going to be in the behind the bumper again. Not in the tail lights like the F-150, but they're going to be in the rear bumpers. And in the case of these, though, same deal. No sort of calibration. Don't need a target or anything like that. It's just a PMI when you swap it out. And then as far as the front camera, that's going to be that high mount camera. And it's going to be very similar to what we talked about on the F-150. We got image processing module A, lane departure warning system camera alignment. And then there's the confirmation screen. It's, like I said, it's the same process as it is on the F-150. And then as far as park assist, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, I was incorrect. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the back and 4 in the front. So 6 in the back, 4 in the front. So that gives me 10. So we have the advanced park assist on the sides as well, if it is equipped with that. 2018 Focus. It's going to be very similar to the other two. It's going to have 3 radars, 1 for adaptive cruise control in the front, 2 in the rear for blind spot monitor and rear cross traffic alert. This one has 2 cameras. It does not have a 360 system, so it's just a front view and a backup camera. And then 10 ultrasonic sensors on this one, so that would have been the same as the as on the Escape. So park assist and advanced park assist. So front camera, once again, high mount in the windshield. That's under image processing module A. Carry out the procedure if the following service procedures have been performed. Rear view mirror has been removed or replaced, and the windshield has been removed or replaced. Even removed the rear view mirror. Battery voltage 12 to 15 volts. On-demand self-test not executed. Programmable module installation was performed if the image processing module A was replaced. And requires 2 people to start. Procedure will require the vehicle to be driven for approximately 10 minutes to align the camera. In other words, one person's supposed to be driving, one person's supposed to be using the scan tool. Start driving over 40 miles an hour. Excessive steering angle changes or sudden changes in vehicle speed should be avoided. And then it'll just tell you here's how to drive it, and then the alignment confirmation is when we're done. And then it also has a rear camera in the rear trunk. No other fancy 360 cameras. And then for the rear radar, once again, both corners in the bumpers, PMI required. Park assist is going to have 4 in the front, 4 in the rear. For the sensors, once again, plug and play. And then for the active park assist, there are going to be sensors in the kind of the corners of the bumpers closer to the wheels there. So if it has the active park assist system, it'll have those 2 extras. So it's 10 total or 8, depending on how the vehicle's equipped. And once again, not anything special needed for that. Okay, so let's go live on the tool and see a couple of these things on these vehicles. So I'm going to pull up the F-150 first. Ooh. And on the F-150, and actually all of these vehicles, I will say, if you have a tool with the service resets and relearns, that's a nice quick way to know whether or not you need to do anything. Because if I come down here to driver aids and ADAS, for example, replace or calibrate front radar, I can go in there and it will give me cruise control radar alignment if I need to do that. Also, if I were to go into repair information, if I have snap-on repair information, so in this case, radar, and remove and replace. It's going to tell me how to do it. There's where the radar is, kind of more on the driver's side. There's my square. Make sure it's level. And then after repair, this is for the gap setting on the cruise control, actually. So on the remove and replace, it should be in the end of it. Follow the diagnostic scan tool on-screen instructions to carry out the calibration procedure. So that's the calibration procedure we were just looking at in here. So radar alignment. It's going to tell you 5 to 15 minutes. Ignition off before completing drive will cause DTCs to set. It's also behind security as well. Vehicle must now be driven on a public road. Do not, anytime during the drive cycle, place a scan tool in the deployment path of any airbag, like we saw earlier. Going to give me a 10-second countdown. And then it'll walk through, and then the procedure's been successful once it's done. So easy enough. Alternatively, we could just go into the individual modules here under ADAS. So image processing module A. Under functional tests, special functions, you're going to have the camera alignment, pro trailer backup assist camera alignment. This will also be required to drive. Lighting is critical. Do not attempt this procedure in low light conditions, ideal over 500 lux or daylight. Visibility clear with high contrast scenes are not disturbed by strong rainfall or snow. Recommend driving in a normal asphalt or concrete road surface. Avoid road surfaces that have a smooth and uniform appearance, like a snow blanketed roadway. And let's see what this will have us do. Place vehicle in drive, activate the rear video camera on the touchscreen display. Puts it in a calibration state, and then tells you to drive the vehicle. This may time out. Let me see. It may not let me go any further. Oh, there we go. Gives me an error because I'm not hooked up to a vehicle. And then if I did need to do that PMI, we got programmable module installation there. It's going to match the VIN. Read data. Turn the ignition switch on. It's going to read the data. Oh, well, in this case, we can't do that in the simulator. But it'll read the data, store it to the tool, and then when I put in a new module, I'm going to write the data that's stored on the tool to the new module. And then the 360 view, we saw that already with the big mats. And then if I were to come down here, parking aid. So like I said, there's really nothing you need to do for the parking aid. Under functional tests, it's just going to give you PMI or new module initialization if I need to. And then for the radar, they hide it under engine-related systems, cruise control module for the front radar. So there's my cruise control radar alignment, also PMI available for that. And then we said for the rear radar, side optical detection control module is what they call it. And on that, there is a PMI for that as well. So pretty well equipped on that. Let me go into my shop key directly. Already had it open from the other thing. On ShopKey, if you have Mitchell or ShopKey linked up with the tool as well, or just online Mitchell or ShopKey, driver assistant ADAS. There's a table for this. So if I wanted to, here's the components in the ADAS. What job possibly requires calibration of that? If I need special tools and if I need a scan tool. So overall, really the outside view camera. That's for my 360. Remove and replace. And then 360 camera alignment. There's my two tubes with my rolled up mats in them. Put them this far away from the tires. Measure your distances. Measure your distances. There's your mats. There's where to put them. And then that's image processing module B. So a couple of different things that may give us errors. Going to be one of the faults. And if you have this fault code, it's going to tell you what to do to fix it. So fairly straightforward as long as you have the mats. You do have the software available in the scan tool, right? As long as you have the other proper equipment. All right. So let's look at the escape. It's going to be the same deal because, like I said, they use pretty much the same systems on these vehicles. So we have image processing module A, no image processing module B because this one does not have the 360 camera on there. Side object detection, obstacle detection control modules, and then we have the cruise control module as well, separated out. So cruise control module calibration is going to be the same thing we did on the F-150, so we don't really need to go there. Let's look at my shop key. Okay, so ADAS again. So blind spot sensors, right? Forward-looking radar sensor. Can go to after repair. Well, that's just going to give me engine controls. I want to go to remove and replace. There it is. Unplug it, unbolt it, check it for damage, put a new one in, do some screws, brackets, and then cruise control radar alignment if I need to do that. Once again, we're using a square. So it's level. And then the horizontal alignment is a software calibration. No manual adjustment is needed. Scan tool calibrates it through the procedure and programmable parameters. Must be running during horizontal alignment. So that's the one where I drive it down the road. So a lot of good information there. Ooh, there's even a TSB for that. Just some functionality diagnostics and alignment process. Even gives you some pictures of what it should look like. Picture shows a target-rich environment. Steel fence posts run next to the road along with signs and light posts. Each post, sign, and pole counts as a single target. So we have many targets in this area. And I think the other one must show us a very few metallic targets. So that's going to take a lot longer to calibrate if I'm driving down a road with fewer targets. And then we'll go with the focus. It's going to be the same deal. Parking processing module A, side object detection modules. And then we come down here. This one doesn't even have the cruise control, so it doesn't have the separate cruise control function because this one does not have the automatic cruise control. 2018. We had a 2017 Escape had it, but 2018 Focus does not. So you can go in under ADAS. It's going to have blind spot sensors though. Call it a hatchback. Move and replace. So that's going to have the it's going to be from underneath. You don't have to take the bumper off. That's pretty handy. Actually looks like it's almost bolted to the bumper. Yeah, it's bolted to the external part of the bumper. Once again, they say you don't need to calibrate these. It's just a PMI. Actually, not even a PMI. You're just going to install reverse the removal. There isn't even a PMI for that. So even easier, just replace it. That makes life a lot easier. All right. So that is our first OEM ADAS class, OEM specific ADAS class. Now Ford, as I kind of showed earlier in the class, is fairly straightforward. Not a lot of weird stuff going on. Don't need a lot of weird targets. I guess for the 360 camera you do, but for radars, you just basically drive the thing. It's a dynamic recalibration most of the time. So pretty straightforward. Would be a pretty easy first foray into ADAS, I would think. Because most of the time you're just driving the thing down the road. So you can just calibrate it fairly easily. Just make sure it's level. Drive it down the road. And then for the rear radars, you don't even really have to do anything except for take the taillight out. And if you have to replace the taillight, you may more than likely have to replace it. And that's on the pickup trucks, of course. So our first one. We'll do another one in a couple weeks on the next manufacturer. But that's Ford for today. let's talk about what we're going to talk about next week. Next week, we are going to talk about VVT systems. So it's been quite a while since we've talked about variable valve timing and variable valve lift and all those sorts of things. So we're going to dive back into the world of variable valve timing and variable valve lift and the different systems that manufacturers use and different failure points we could possibly have, different scan tool functions we might need for that. All right, so same time and same place as always, 6 and 9 Eastern. So if you want to join on Zoom, just go to snapon.com/OT. Otherwise, the 6 p.m. Eastern class goes live to our YouTube channel. So if you scan that QR code, it'll bring you to the YouTube channel and subscribe you automatically. And 9 p.m. Eastern class goes directly to the Facebook page. If you want to see any of the other classes in this series, anywhere from, well, it's kind of funny how it worked out this time, ADAS to ADAS. All right, so the very first class we ever did was ADAS, and we really didn't do much on it till last week. There's my OEM specific training we did throughout the year as well. So any of those classes you want to take, half an hour, 40 minutes, somewhere in there, going to be pretty much a similar type format for free, anytime, any day. Also, do we have your email address? If we don't, you may be missing out on some good information like tech focus articles, SureTrack blogs, quick tips, new product releases. They send out my schedule periodically on that as well. Here's an example of diagnosing a stretch timing chain. Here's a SureTrack blog. It's going to walk you through complaint cause correction on an interesting topic. And yeah, sign up for the email there. Scan that QR code. It'll bring you to a form. You can type in your information. All right, we'll get to questions here in just 1 second. I just want to make sure I also mention my buddy Keith, who also does free diagnostics training. He does it on scan tool specific training, though. Wednesday is on Zeus and Zeus Plus, and Thursday is on Triton and Apollo tools. So everything from soup to nuts. Let's get your Wi-Fi set up all the way through. Let's talk about fast track intelligent diagnostics, scan tool functions, and then that's about an hour for the first part, and then he takes about a 5-minute break, and then he talks about guided component tests, scope, meter, all those different types of functions as well. So definitely thorough, definitely worth your time if you want to learn a little bit more about your scan tool. All right, let's get to questions. If you do have questions on Zoom, just find that Q&A button top or bottom of your screen, click on that, type it in. If you're watching on YouTube, just make sure you use the live chat function. So it looks like I got 2 questions on Zoom so far. Let's see. So is Mitchell On Demand the same as ShopKey? Sean asks. Yes, Mitchell and ShopKey are the same. You can access either of them on the computer, laptop. They are not tied to the Zeus scan tool that I used it on. The Zeus just happens to be a Windows-based tool, so it directly integrates with the software. So yeah, you can use it on a laptop, or you can use it on the Zeus as well. Either or, works either way. It is only available in the U.S. though, so if you're outside the U.S., that's or U.S. and Canada, North America. Because I know over in like Europe and UK, they have different information system over there. Haynes Pro over there. Actually, in the rest of the world, it's Haynes Pro. So good question though. All right, for YouTube, Alonzo is saying hello from Alabama. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. Nick is saying hello from the UK, as he always does, 11 o'clock at night over there. Go get some sleep, Nick. It's late. I'm a night owl too, but you know. Quinn said, what's up, Jason? Got a moment and finally got on. Has been away for a little bit, so thank you for that. Jaylee Lobo says hello to me and Nick. And Nick says hello back. Quinn says, long time no here. Question, I've seen the last few weeks that frost and inclement weather affect a few vehicles. Is that an anomaly or no? That is not an anomaly. Well, let's put it this way. So the parts of the country where the cold weather was going has been an anomaly. A foot of snow in New Orleans a couple weeks ago. So yeah, that was an issue. And yeah, it definitely would play hell with these ADAS systems too. I remember couple weeks ago when it was especially cold up here in New England, I got a little warning on my dash when I was driving down the road. It says, oh, the camera's blocked. And then I go to look at the upper camera, the top of the windshield is just a little bit of frost coming down that part of the windshield. So it's slightly covering the camera when the frost evaporated. And then it stopped. But yeah, it wouldn't allow the lane departure system to work on the car with the frost on the windshield. So yeah, it could definitely cause havoc with that. And then Jay Lee Lobo says, great info. Thank you for your time and dedication. And Jay McCall says, thanks for the class. So thank you all for chiming in, asking your questions, and hopefully we'll see you next week. So with that, trying to get this to move. There we go. With that, thank you very much for spending a little bit of time with me. Hopefully you picked up a few little tips and tricks on Ford-specific ADAS functions. Hopefully I'll see you next week for variable valve timing. And with that, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. Have a good night and take care.